Today I'm going to show you the 10 biggest engine killers that can destroy your vehicle and cost you thousands of dollars. Some of these mistakes people do every single day without even realizing it. If you want your car to last 200,000 miles or more, stay with me because this could save your engine. Welcome back to Papa's Custom Cars. If you love saving money and learning real-world car repair tips, hit that subscribe button now. Also, make sure you like. So the first area we're going to talk about is engine oil. A lot of us go miles and miles and miles and don't even think to check it. Hey, we have it changed over here at whatever service every 5,000 miles. So I don't check it because I know that, they take care of it. But unbeknownst to you, you may have developed a leak that you don't know about, or the car might just be burning oil. And it's really important that we check our oil on a regular basis because that number one engine killer is low oil. Oil is the lifeblood of your engine. It lubricates all the moving parts. It prevents metal on metal wear. It helps to cool the engine. So we have to make sure that we check it every single time we're in here. So checking your oil is an important part of everyday maintenance. We need to make sure that we're checking it on a regular basis. Even though we have it changed all the time, we still want to make sure that we're at the correct height and everything else. Right now, the Mustang is perfect. It's actually a little bit over, which is a good thing. Well, not a completely good thing. It should be way over. But if you run low even once, you can damage the engine's bearings. You can tear up the lifters. You can tear up the camshaft. Even the crank journals can be messed up, and that can cost you thousands of dollars. So just taking a few minutes and checking that oil to make sure that it's at the proper level, even if you have it changed every 5,000 miles, make sure, because engines develop a leak. This particular one has a very, very tiny leak, and over time can leak out enough oil to where you got to add a quart to it. So that's the number one engine killer, is engine oil. So make sure that you're checking your oil on a regular basis, and that way you know it's taken care of. The second destroyer of engines, and probably the most common, is overheating. A lot of times we don't check our fluids on a regular level, and it can leak out just a tiny bit every single time. You don't know, but it can cause your heads to warp. Prime example is I just did my 6.2. The last owner overheated the heck out of it, warped the head a little bit. That warped head cost me $3,000 in repairs. And that is a lot of money to have to spend to fix your engine because someone wasn't paying attention to it. Now, I caught it in the very beginning. It didn't milkshake the oil, because what will happen is those two will mix, and then everything goes to kapowie, I guess you'd say, or it just becomes a giant mess. So that warped heads, blown head gaskets, a cracked block can be things that can happen down the road, and replacing your engine, especially in a modern car, can get really, really expensive. Like I said, I just spent $3,000 on that 6.2 to do new head gaskets and everything, and I had to send them out because they were slightly warped. So that's one of those things that can really cost you a lot of money, and all it takes really is to reach down when your car is cold. Don't do this when your engine's warm. Open the cap and take a look inside, and like right now, I cannot see any fluid at all. Or I can't see any coolant. So let me grab my flashlight and I'll be right back. So it's a really simple thing to do. You can check both your radiator and your coolant level in your overflow bottle, and that'll help you know if you need fluid. Like I can see fluid in here. It's down about 4 or 5 inches, which is probably too low. So I do need to add some fluid to this one and make sure that it's up to the proper temperature. And it's just a matter of adding coolant to it. So let me go grab some, and I'll put some in it, because while we're here, making this video, we want to make sure that we're bringing our car up to date. So give me 1 second to grab some antifreeze. Hopefully I have some, and we'll get this thing topped off. Well, it doesn't look like we have any coolant, so back over to the car real quick. So it doesn't look like I have any coolant in stock right now. I'm going to have to order some up. I'll have to put it on my board so I know to make sure that I order some before I drive this car. It can drive on that low, that fluid being that low, but we definitely want to top it off and make sure we're good. It is nice and green. This car probably sees 50 miles a year, if that. So we definitely want to make sure that that is taken care of. Pay attention to your gauges in your car. Do not ignore that temperature gauge. That is one of the main things that folks do is like, well, it's climbing up a little bit, but it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I can tell you from experience that when that temperature gauge starts climbing, the next thing you know, you're on the side of the road and you're stranded. I have had that happen. I had a little Dodge with a 4-cylinder in it, popped the head gasket because of heat. I didn't notice the gauge because it didn't have one. It had the little light, and by the time that light turns on, it's too late. So kind of one of those things you really want to pay attention to is your engine coolant. The next one that I want to talk about, your next engine killer, is noise in your engine. Knocking noises. Oh, the worst. A hammering kind of noise. It sounds like somebody's pounding on metal inside your engine. That's actually a piece of metal pounding on another piece of metal. It could be the rod knocking against the block, and then the next thing you know, you've got a hole in the side of it, and you have a worthless block. Engine ticking. Ticking noises could be lifters, rocker arms, any of that nature. Improperly lubricated, wearing out, all that type of thing causes the engine parts at the top end of the motor, or in some cases in your head, to tick. And that is a sign of wear or low oil pressure, anything of that nature. So you've got to pay attention to that noise. The next one is any kind of grinding noise. It could be anything in your engine that's causing that grinding. Could be your transmission, could be anything causing that grinding noise. And a grinding noise in any engine is not a good thing. So you definitely want to pay attention to it. Come out, take a look at it. If you don't know what you're doing, definitely consult somebody so you can say, hey, my engine's making this weird noise. Can you come out and listen to it for me? Guys like me, we don't have a problem with it. We can walk out there, listen to it in a few minutes. And there's a bunch of us in your neighborhood, and we can tell you, hey, that's not good. This is what it could be. Definitely want to take it to the shop, or if you're your own guy, you definitely want to figure out exactly what it is and fix it. The next one is squealing belts. This one drives me crazy. A squealing belt means it's slipping. It's not running the way it should, and it's not operating all of your accessories, and one of the most important being your water pump. Again, that water pump not running, or something locked up that's causing that belt to squeak, can cause you problems down the road. That belt will move no matter what because that engine is driving it. And if something locks up, like your water pump or your air conditioner or your alternator or anything that runs off of the front, that's going to cause you problems. That's going to cause you overheating, not charging. It's going to bring your car to a grinding halt. So you definitely want to pay attention to those squeaking belts. Replace the belts as needed. I generally, when I get a car, I replace all the belts. When I bought my truck, the first thing I did, all the belts got to be changed. I don't want to take any chances, and I want to make sure that I've got belts. On anything that's older, like this car, I've got a spare belt hanging on the wall because I want to make sure that if it goes out or something happens, or I'm driving it on a trip, I'm tossing it in the back with the tools to make sure I've got a spare belt with me. You don't so much have to do that with a newer vehicle, but with an older one, you definitely want to. And with those belts, don't be cheap. There are cheap belts on the different websites out there on the internet, and cheap generally doesn't mean good. So you definitely want to make sure that you're using good parts in your engine, because this is the lifeblood of the car. This is one of the most expensive things you can have, besides the body itself or the whole car. But this part of the equation is the most expensive when something goes wrong. So you definitely want to listen to your car talking to you before it fails. One of the ones everyone doesn't pay any attention to or pays the least amount of attention to is the air cleaner. All it takes is unscrewing or popping off your cover and looking at your air filter and seeing. The easy way to tell is just hold it up in the light. If you can't see light through it or you see all kinds of garbage on it, that's not a good air filter. This particular one's in good shape, just replaced a couple of years ago, and it's got maybe 200 miles on it, so I'm not worried about this one at all. But on your newer cars, you get your little box, open the box up, look at that filter, because that's where the car gets its air from. And dirty air means that it's getting down into the engine, it's contaminating your fuel. It could hinder your airflow and your fuel mixture. If it's not getting enough air, it's going to add less fuel, and your performance is going to decline. Not to mention that dirt in the system is not a good thing. So always pay attention to your air cleaner. It takes a few minutes to take a look at it. Definitely get it changed when you can. Again, don't go cheap. Buy a good air filter. Make sure that you're not buying something that looks like paper. That the first time a rock or something a hunk of dirt goes in there, it blows a hole in it and goes into your engine. So you definitely want to pay attention to that. So that's number 4, is your dirty air filter. Number 5, bad gas. Boy, can I tell you stories about bad gas. I was in California years ago, back in the 80s, and there was a gas station that had the cheapest gas I'd ever seen in my entire life. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to run over there. I'm going to fill my car with this gas. It's like, 50 cents to $1 cheaper than everywhere else in town. And boy, did I pay for it. There was garbage in that gas. There was water in that gas. It was contaminated with something. And my car threw a fit. I had to drain out that fuel and basically throw my money away. Of course, I reported them, but still, it doesn't do any good when you're running that garbage through your engine and through your car, because it's going to cause a host of problems, especially water in the fuel. Water in the fuel introduces rust, and rust is the enemy of your fuel system. So you definitely want to pay attention to that, and pay attention to those poor quality gas stations, I guess you'd say. There's a bunch of really good gas stations out there that you can tell by looking at their stars on Google or Gas Buddy. There's a bunch of different apps out there that'll help you decide where to go get gas, but pay attention to what people are saying about that gas station. The first thing I did was hammered that gas station about, contaminated fuel. That told the rest of the world, don't go here. This is bad gas. So you definitely want to pay attention to that. Also, the wrong octane. I know this will run on 87 octane all day long. It doesn't seem to have much problem running at 87 octane if you're just humming down the road. But the minute you push that gas pedal and you hear that spark knock, it's because the octanes are too low. A lot of your more modern cars are going to run into issues with low octane fuel, and it's just not going to run right. And you want to make sure that your car is always running right. So make sure that you're matching the octane to what the owner's manual says. And or like the Nova, for example, is designed to run on 93. So I've got to run 93. If I don't, it won't be happy at all. So make sure that you're running the right octane fuel in your car. The number 6 engine killer in your car: delayed maintenance. Spark plugs, oil changes, coolant, belts, all these things matter. If you're not doing regular maintenance to your car, then you're going to have issues. The newer cars will go longer on spark plugs, will go longer on the ignition system and everything like that. But when it's time, it's time. When you're getting, I think my Chevy Trax, I think the plugs were good for 100,000 miles, which was really good. But boy, when they went bad after 100,000, they were no good. Cars like this, you're doing a tune-up on these quite frequently, a lot more frequent than you would a newer car. But again, you've got to do that maintenance. If you need to change your spark plugs, change your spark plugs. If you notice something, the car's just not running right, you've checked everything else, pull a spark plug and take a look-see at it. There's a million places out there where you can go to learn how to read that spark plug, but make sure that your spark plugs are doing their job. Make sure that your oil is being changed based on the recommended specs of your owner's manual and or vehicle. Don't neglect oil changes. I cannot say this enough. I have ruined more cars in my youth than I can shake a stick at because I just didn't change my oil ever. I just added oil, added oil, added oil. Prime example is I had a Vega, drove fine, but everybody knows those Vega motors. If you aren't changing your oil on them, you're going to fry the motor. And pretty much it was just a smoke show in the end when I traded it in. So you've got to make sure you do that regular maintenance to these cars all the times. Check your coolant, check your oil, check your plugs, check your belts, check everything you can in the car, especially if you're going on a trip. That way you know that the car is ready to go anytime you need it. The next area that I'll talk about, and I see this all the time on YouTube, where somebody gets in the car, it's cold, and they immediately go to revving the car up and running it hard and doing all that kind of thing. Well, if you have got proper oil circulation going yet, and you start doing that, you're going to start wearing out parts. The oil hasn't gone through the entire engine system, through all the galleys and lubricated everything, and firing it up on a cold engine, or flooring it on a cold engine can destroy an engine fast. And that doesn't matter what kind of car it is. You should always start your car up, let it warm up to operating temperature before you do anything. That's the most important thing. Even getting in your car and just starting it up, throwing it in gear and going can be bad for the engine. So you want to take a little bit of time wherever you can and warm the car up to get it up to operating temperature before you run it. That's the way they're made to be. So let's not take a shortcut, get in the car and just go. That will destroy a car faster than you can shake a stick at it. So that's number 7. I know I had 10 of them all together, and they're intermixed in there a little bit. Some with others, coolant, engine, all that kind of thing. They're kind of intermixed, but I probably just listed more than 10 things you should pay attention to. It doesn't take a few minutes to go through and check your fluids. I would suggest it quite frequently, depending upon how much you drive. It's easy enough just to pull that dipstick or open that radiator cap. Now, again, with the sealed systems, checking your coolant overflow is fine. Checking your air cleaner, checking to make sure there's no debris. One of the big ones is in the old days, we used to have to watch out for cats in your engine compartment. It doesn't take much. So, drop a line down and let me hear your story of what you had happen when you killed an engine before. Drop it down in the comments. Let us know so that everybody that's watching this video can go down there and read what happened to you. Mine was, my very first engine was a 1964 Ford Galaxie 500 XL. Had a 352 in it. Driving it home, I hear a very low knock. The next thing and I'm just ignoring it and just driving home. And by the time I got to the house, I blew a rod through the side of the engine. So that was toast, and I spent a winter on the ground putting an engine in it because we didn't have heated garage or any of that fun stuff like I have now. So, let me hear your story of what happened to you and your engine. I'd like to hear that. So with that, the wrap up on this is real simple. Pay attention. Take the time to go through your engine to save yourself thousands of dollars down the road. That definitely makes it so that your car runs good. I should say your vehicle, because it could be a car or a truck or whatever, but your vehicle will run good and you won't have any issues. The main thing being is take the time to check these things out to make sure that your engine is running properly and that you're mindful of everything that's going on with it. If you want any more tips like this, subscribe and follow me. Leave a comment. And with that, make sure you like, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.